Welcome to Jodi Day. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Why? I feel like I'm backwards. Am I backwards? But welcome. Welcome, everybody. Nick is taking a well deserved day off today for Jodi Day, but we are here and we have one more day. Yes, this is the last day of jury question bingo. So get your cards while you can. We have had 6 winners so far, 7 if we count Salvador, but we're not really. And we're going to do one more final day of Jodi Day. Now, I skimmed ahead. The remainder of day 28, if you remember, we left off on day 28. For some reason, the video actually repeats earlier testimony. There's no continuation of testimony from day 28. So we are jumping into day 29. And we have about 45 minutes, 40 minutes or so of jury questions remaining. And that is all. So, so get your bingo cards now. I thought you were going over the pond. I was going to, but the tickets are really expensive, and because of my children and other things going on, my trip is going to be really short. I didn't feel like spending all that money on like a 5-day trip. So I decided to not. My wife is still over there for another 8 days. So another week she's over there. She's meeting up with Nick, actually, I think on Saturday. So that'll be good. They'll have fun with Maureen and a bunch of others. Good morning, Dave. Happy New Year, all. Happy New Year, Paige. Here for the bingo, totally Pip. This is your last chance to win, everybody. And yes, remember when you get your bingo card, which, by the way, a link to the bingo cards is the first line in both descriptions, whether you're watching on my stream or Nick's stream. If you go down to the description, you will have a link to the bingo cards. Put in your YouTube name and remember your card number as you play along. We will check. Sorry, my video is out of sync with my audio. That's what it is. Do you guys notice that, or is it just on my end? Hello? That's weird. Okay, that's going to bother me all throughout the trial. I can't see myself or be distracted. All right. So the rules of the game are anyone playing along, when you hear a word said by the judge as part of the jury question or by Jodi herself as part of her answer, that counts. And the exact word. So I know we had some issues with Scripture versus Book of Mormon. The exact word is what we're looking for. Is it on my end? Okay, good. As long as it's just on my end, that's fine. I just won't look at myself. And yeah, and so the bingo cards are in the link. I was going to try to pull up a sample bingo card so you guys can all take a look at it. Let's see, bingo cards. There we go. MLS, although I'm not going to play. I know. All right, so you guys can take a look at it here. All right, this is what your bingo card looks like. The anal sex is free with Jodi Arias. Remember, the bonus hole is always free, so go ahead and mark that X. And as you see the rest of the words pop up, if you get a diagonal, 5 and a diagonal, 5 up and down anywhere on the board, or 5 across, you will win. Shout bingo in the chat, and we will stop and we will go ahead and verify your card. Jung, who set all this up for us and did an amazing job, she is stuck with a patient, she says. So she's not able to actually run the game behind the scenes. I am. So that's fun. So I will try to check the words as we go and check everyone's cards. When you get a bingo, you also need to put in your bingo card number. Like this card number is 15015. So let me know what your card number is so that I can double check. And the people who have won in the past cannot win again, unfortunately, just to keep the options open for everyone else. So that would be BL Blazy, Jess Rubery, Little Peanut, Little Peanut, Bombshell, Flux, Retzim, I guess is how you pronounce that. And then Salvador, he's out of the running as well because he claimed he won last time, even though he really didn't. But for the sake of playing going forward, he's not allowed to win. You can still play along for fun, but you can't win. Can't play today. Yeah. Nick is stuck at work, everybody. Also, Nick and I are still dual streaming this, even though it's just me. I am in full control of your stream, Nick, right now. But if you want to go over and give him a like, I don't know why you would, since he's not even on the panel. You can do that. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. And then, of course, my link to my stream is pinned at the top of my chat. And you can jump over and give me a thumbs up. So that's about it to get everyone up to speed and ready to go for Jodi Bingo. If you guys have any questions in the meantime, let me know. But otherwise, we're going to get to Jodi Bingo. I will say that there's about 30 minutes that they do a sidebar and they exit the jury and all this stuff. So we're going to go ahead and skip past that. Subtitles are turned on, I believe. Yep. All right. We'll get going. Yeah, who's linked in the description as well. You guys should go subscribe to him because he has a bunch of trials that he has remastered.
Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Ms. Arias, you are still under oath. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm going to continue to ask you the questions submitted by the jury. Several times while testifying about the abuse by...
Okay, several times while testifying about the abuse by... Okay, so that is part of the words the judge is speaking on, but it's part of the jury question, as well as Jodi's answer. So Jodi's answer and the jury questions themselves. So if the attorneys are arguing about objections and the judge is responding to those objections, or if she's telling Jodi how to answer a question, or that she has to answer a question or something like that, that doesn't count. It's only the jury's questions and Jodi's answers.
Travis, you've made comments like, as I understand it now, and I've come to realize. How has this realization come about?
Because about almost 5 years have passed, just the farther away I get from the situation, the more perspective I have. Whereas before I constantly made excuses for him. Now I understand that the things that occurred were not okay. And, forgiving him is different from continually putting up with it. So in hindsight, the farther away I get from the situation, the more perspective I have of those events. The abuse.
She uses perspective.
Were individuals involved in helping you come to these realizations?
Sometimes spiritual leaders, things like that.
Realization already?
It's mostly just reflection.
Wait, do we have 3 words already in like the first 10 seconds? Realization. Oh, realization and Travis. Okay, 2 words. All right. Travis and realization.
On the incidents.
Tell us who they are and what their professions may be.
These were individuals with the church. I don't know what their professions are. But they come to where I live, and they counsel me spiritually, things like that. Most of them are from the Mormon church. There's also a lady from the Baptist church who continues to visit me regularly.
You are recalling times of memory loss with Travis. How is it possible you remember such details from those days if you had a foggy memory?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
You are recalling times of memory loss with Travis. How is it possible you remember such details from those days if you had a foggy memory?
The fog or the confusion only begins when he starts screaming, or if there's a fear that maybe there's going to be tension or some kind of escalation of anger or violence. And then certain incidents such as the physical pain.
Foggy is not fog. Foggy is not fog. The words are exactly.
Is crystallized in my mind. So that sticks. And then also there are journal entries that I've made that remind me of that day and details of that day. So it helps me remember, oh yeah, that day I did this before I went to Travis's house. I remember it was around this time, or this day of the week. So
Did she say fog? Okay. No, cancel. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to monitor this. Young, I need you here.
or the confusion only begins when he starts screaming, or if there's a fear that maybe there's going to be tension or some kind of escalation of anger or violence. And then certain incidents such as the physical pain is crystallized in my mind. So that sticks. And then also there are journal entries that I've made that remind me of that day and details of that day. So it helps me remember, oh yeah, that day I did this before I went to Travis's house. I remember it was around this time, or this day of the week. So I did review my journals constantly over the years, and that's given me perspective as far as, things like that. So the confusion comes in when he begins to get angry.
Angry.
Is there anyone else who knows about your memory issues?
Well, I mean, again, I think I have a really excellent memory. Just the issue.
Answer the question as stated.
Oh, it's hard because I don't think I have memory issues.
Right, then that's your answer. Did Travis?
She doesn't have memory issues. That's her statement. So she doesn't have memory issues. What's interesting too is the jury actually writes more questions as she's answering their questions. That's coming up in a bit. Yes, Sal has already joined the Mormon Church.
His roommates ever hear these altercations to your knowledge?
I'm not sure about that.
To your knowledge, did anyone else hear your altercations?
Yes, they have. That would be Dan Freeman heard the last tail end of the altercation the morning we went to have soup pie. He came into the bedroom as Travis was storming out of the bedroom.
We need to put like Kirk from Uncivil in Salvador in like a speed dating and film it. That would be amazing.
So there was that. And then also in the car, we had pulled over, and it was actually so I could use the bathroom in the forest rather than take pictures. But
Hey, Christine.
that led to an argument. When I came back to the car, he had locked me out. Travis locked me out. So he saw that. I just went and sat by the side of the road. And
if you're coming in late, by the way, and I noticed a few of you are, there are bingo cards. We are playing bingo. So the link to the bingo cards, not too late to start. We take up to 3 winners per game. And they are pinned in the, or not pinned, they are in the description of both mine and Nick's channel. It's the first line is the bingo card link. Go ahead and enter your YouTube name in there. And Gigi just pulled it up as well in the chat, I think on Nick's side. It's hard to see anymore since we are like joined at the hip now with YouTube and our StreamYard, so I can't tell who's posting what where. But go ahead and join along with us. And if you get a traditional bingo up and down, straight across, diagonally, let us know. Remember, the anal sex for Jodi Arias is always free. So go ahead and hit that box as soon as you get your card up.
waited for him to open the door, and he lost patience and he came out of the car, and I came back in, but it led to an argument over that. So Dan and Desiree were witness to that. I don't know if they saw any other arguments, and I don't think anyone else that, to my knowledge, would have seen any.
Ew, I just realized she's got herpes on her lip. She's got herpes on her lip, everyone. Look at that right there. Rose.
You have testified about several incidents where Travis was physical to you. Were you ever physical to Travis besides?
Did they testify to that? No, I don't think anybody testified. There was one testimony. You're talking about her friend's hearing? I wasn't really paying attention. The question was altercations, not arguments. Okay, yes. So they've They observed one argument, but they didn't see any altercations. Nobody testified regarding that.
Besides when you killed him.
I think when he was choking me, my hands were free. He was over my torso. My arms were free. So I may have tried to push him off, or I didn't want to injure him. I just wanted him to get off of me, but that was very quick and it didn't last long.
Would you consider the event when Travis choked you a stressful event?
Certainly, yes.
If yes, why do you recall the event so clearly?
I recall up to the point where he was choking me and passing out. I had disorientation after I woke up. I had to get my bearings. I wasn't sure where I was. Then I recognized Travis's bedroom. I was laying on my side coughing, and so I saw the carpet.
How she's able to relate it.
No, not yet. Injuries does not mean injury. She said injury to me or injure me. That's not injuries. But she did say choking me. So for all those playing bingo, the words thus far have been anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, memory, and Travis. Those are the words that we have so far. Anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, memory, Travis. And of course, anal sex is the free space that everyone gets with Jodi.
Today, he's explaining that, Your Honor.
Overruled. You may continue.
So I was experiencing disorientation. I wasn't thinking, gosh, Travis just choked me out. A thought sort of wandered through my mind. I said, where's Napoleon in my head? That was my thought. So it didn't really have any relation to the event. That was just a thought. I was kind of getting my bearings.
Oh, you're right.
So there is.
I apologize. Yes, you're right. I did write these down in order this time, and that they're presented in yes. Killed him has been said. Yes. Anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, killed him, memory, and Travis. Ooh. All right. Trying to monitor this a few different ways. I'm going to do this so I'm not distracted. Okay.
It's not completely clear. I just remember he had his hands around my neck and he was banging my head on the carpet. And I tried to push him off, and I blacked out really shortly after that.
In the moments of stress or fog, how do you recall what happened in those moments if it affects your memory?
I don't recall clearly what happens in those moments, as far as details, every detail. Sometimes I have a general sense of what's going on, and sometimes I don't. But as far as the fog goes, it's more, again, just words that are being spoken or screamed or yelled, and processing that sort of thing. Physical things I can remember because I feel them physically. I can remember what I feel internally and emotionally as well, but it's more the words that are being spoken and their meanings, but I do remember what I feel. If that makes sense.
Like any 60-year-old woman, we play bingo twice weekly here. So I'm glad you made it. Grab your bingo card. And I realized too what my issue is, not my issue, but with the words. So I wrote the words down in order that I heard them. I listened ahead a little bit. And things like fog, I wrote down and didn't realize that, like I wrote it down towards the end when I heard it, but I didn't realize that it was said earlier in her testimony. So that's the issue. I have an excellent memory. Yes. I wrote down the words exactly as they said, except shot in head. I believe shot him in the head is the word or the phrase.
Why were you afraid of the consequences if you killed Travis in self-defense?
I believed that it's not okay in any circumstance to take someone's life, even if you're defending your own life. That's
you can tell.
how I believed it.
Yeah, you can really tell that the jury is taking their job seriously and they're not buying any of her BS.
So I never really stopped to consider how society would view it if someone is defending themselves. I just felt like I had done something wrong, and I was afraid of what the consequences would be.
What happened to the gas cans after the road trip in June of 2008?
They went back to my grandmother's house,
Gas can.
where I went back to eventually, and I was taking a road trip to Monterey and had intended to bring them to Darrell, but I never made it to that road trip.
Regarding shaking memory, foggy reaction. Number one, do you always have a reaction as you described when someone corrects or challenges you?
I do now. I've gotten a little bit better and a little bit stronger. It's a condition that started again in November 2007 and continued. It continues to this day, but I've gotten a little better about it.
Number two, is this the same reaction you have when someone yells or raises their voice at you?
I feel like Jodi still believes she has an ability to talk her way out of this. I think that's where she's sitting right now. Stay strong, Queen. Yes, stay strong. Stay strong.
Yes, for the most part. Sometimes someone might yell and it's done and over with, and it doesn't make me shake, but the majority of the time it does.
Number three, have you ever had any situations where you have raised your voice?
Yes, probably a million times.
You mentioned the pain of sex is one of the reasons you brought KY into the relationship. What are the other reasons?
Okay, so we got sex and KY with those. Wait, who's got bingo? Bingo, but I didn't count. Wait, what? Oh yeah, no, you don't count because you won already. All right, so Mamasaurus, you got bingo. 004. Okay, now I get to try to figure out how this works. View card. Oh yeah, okay, so fog, memory, Travis, something, and shake. Choking me and shake. Awesome. Mamasaurus is the winner. I need you to send me an email or contact me in some way to win your prize. I don't. Oh, you know what? I do. So I've got wine tumblers on the way, and this is what's going to be on them. Jodi Arias in a straitjacket with the moniker 3-Hole Wonder. So that is what is on its way for all the winners. I'm going to write your name down. SAUREX. Congratulations. We got 2 more winners coming. Everyone keep your cards. Keep going. Yes, don't stop. Don't stop believing. We're going to keep going. We got 2 more winners. Nope, not shower yet. We have had anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, shake, gas can, KY, killed me is one phrase, memory, sex, killed him, killed him, memory, sex, and Travis. Those are the phrases and words that we've had thus far. She answers like they're buying it. She doesn't feel the ice pick to her story kidney yet. That is a good, nice way of saying it. I agree with half Irish. Yeah, she does it. She does none at all. Realization, realize. What I say? Realize? Oh my God. I'm good at reading. Realization. Yes. Anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, shake, gas can, KY, killed him, memory, sex, and Travis. Those are the words. Hey, grab yourself a bingo card, Tammy, and play along. And we got 2 more winners yet, so we're still good. Or you could play for fun if you've already won.
Well, for example, on direct, I think I mentioned that it facilitates our activities a little bit better. It makes them more enjoyable and, of course, less painful.
Nope. Okay, Tammy. So, yep. Gigi just put it in the link. Grab your bingo card, put your YouTube name in there, and register to go. And I'll stop in a few minutes and go over the words that have already been selected and have fun.
During these altercations, why didn't you just scream in hopes that someone would hear you and help you?
I did scream. I wasn't thinking of somebody helping me. For example, I screamed when he threw me on the floor and started kicking me. I was unable to scream when he had his hands around my windpipes. And I'm sure I was screaming on June 4th.
I'm handing you Exhibit 164. What was the date and time stamped on Exhibit 164?
1:42 and 53 seconds p.m.
And the date?
I'm sorry, it was 6:4:08.
If you were scared of what Travis was capable of doing, why would you ever let him tie you up?
When that occurred, he was in a very good mood and he wasn't displaying any signs of agitation. And that was the Travis that I liked and was not afraid of. The moment he began to get angry, my warning bells started to go off and I began to get cautious, for lack of a better term. But he hadn't displayed any of that. We just woke up, we were getting along. So, and again, they were loose enough to wiggle out of. So I wasn't like stuck there at his mercy, so to speak.
Was Travis tied up at any point on June 4, 2008?
No.
Do you recall the injuries on Travis's body at any point during June 4 without the aid of photographs?
No, I didn't even realize that I shot him.
Not yet.
You mentioned that one of the reasons you chose not to write negative things in your journal was because you were concerned that Travis would read it. Is that correct?
We got a bingo card number 10. All right, let me see if I can figure this out again on how to do this. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you selected injuries was your last one, and you got it before I clicked it, so it came up as a blue. But we are good. Everyone's using that free anal sex. Oh no, not the first one, but you did. Carlos 247. Congratulations. You win a wine tumbler with the Jodi Arias moniker and her in a straitjacket, which will be coming very soon. Just send me an email or reach out to me however you want to get me your contact information so I can have it sent out. There's still one more. Don't get rid of your cards just yet, everybody. Hold your cards. Yes, verification and one more winner needed. Exactly. Iris, can you go over the words again? Yes. All right, so everyone get your bingo cards out. We're going to go over the words again that we have thus far. It is anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, shake, gas can, KY, injuries, killed him, memory, sex, and Travis. And of course, anal sex is free with Jodi Arias, so that is your free space, and go ahead and click that one. Anger, choking me, fog, journal, realization, shake, gas can, KY, injuries, killed him, memory, sex, and Travis. 2 windpipes does give her an advantage. I agree. Nanyasha business. By the way, I love the name change. All right, we'll keep going. We got one more winner to come.
Correct. That's correct. After October, I didn't write anything else negative. He found it. This would be late October, early November, and said that's not in line with the secret being the law of attraction, and maybe tear it out. So at that point, I was into the law of attraction. I agreed with him. I figured he's right. And honestly, I felt really bad because that's the first time he'd ever heard me say something negative about him. I'd never said
law of
negative things
attraction.
toward him or about him.
Law of attraction is our next word. Just wanted to pause and make sure I got it. Law of attraction. Oh. Are you trying to? I was wondering what this was. Ingo. Are you trying to say bingo? Bingo card number 20. You got a bingo? Is that what that is? Ingo. I got an Ingo, everybody. I'm missing a word, but I got an Ingo. All right, let's check card number 20. Law of attraction was your last word. So sex, fog, KY, killed him, and law of attraction. All right. It doesn't identify your name on the cards, which is weird. It's like, why put a name in? Totally not a Russian bot. All right. Congratulations. Totally not a Russian bot. And you know what? Shenanagram, you got a bingo? What's your bingo number? Card 24. Since I thought we were going to have another full day of bingo, but today is the last day, much like Salvador claimed, but you're going to get is a 4th win. And we have Yep. All right. So Shenanagram has a win as well. And that is all the winners for today, but you can still play along if you want. And if you don't know, generally I do these bingos at closing arguments, actually. So if I do a trial stream, usually I'm doing these for closing arguments. But because we heard that there was some like over or something like 200 questions from the jury for Jodi, I thought it would be fun to do it for this. So thank you all for playing along. We are still going. We're still going to stream the rest of the jury questions, which will take us all the way up through about 1 o'clock, our normal play time for Tuesdays. And then we get into some more redirect or recross and redirect after the jury questions. So we'll keep playing this. We'll get to that on Tuesday. We're going to finish up the jury questions here today. Oh, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do a blackout game. First one to blackout. Wait, no, we can't. We can't do a blackout. Because this was the last one, I wanted to make sure that all the words that we selected were actually going to be played within the stream. So literally everybody's going to win if we did a blackout because all these words are said at some point in these jury questions. So we can't do a blackout today. We didn't throw any words in there, random words like 27 or pigtails, things that may or may not be said. So we can't do a blackout. Let's see. Wait. What about the other 3 people who got bingo on law of attraction? Who else got bingo on law of... Did I miss somebody? You were all waiting for law of attraction. Oh, Old Line Red, you got bingo on law of attraction? All right, if you guys got bingo on law of attraction and I haven't already addressed you, let me know. And we'll verify. Throw in your card number. So law of attraction was the last word. If you got a bingo on law of attraction, It doesn't. The normal bingo. I've actually run a bingo game. The law of it, the whole thing about calling it first doesn't count. Anybody who won on the last word wins. So Vielhammer Media with card number 14, yes. Let's see. Vielhammer and Old Line Red on card number 16. Yep. Okay. So Old Line Red. Anyone else? Anyone else win on Law of Attraction? I haven't played bingo in decades. All right. Okay, cool. So we have Momosaurus Rex, Carlos, Totally Not a Russian Bot, Shenanagram, Vielhammer, and Old Line Ren all won today. I'm going to order more mugs. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 13. I need one more than I ordered. Damn it. Okay. You know what, Salvador? You're not getting a mug. Oh, I can't do that to you. All right. I got to order one more mug. And then we will be good to go. I will send those out. But please email me or reach out to me on X or Discord or some way. Get your contact information to me and we'll get those out. But we're not going to do a blackout today. We can't because everyone in the chat is going to be winning. And that gets really expensive. Please read, I don't need a mug. Well, you're getting a mug, even if I have to send it to Russia.
I always edified him positively behind his back. And I felt like, kind of like I'd been caught saying something very bad about him. So I didn't do that anymore.
If that is the case, why were you okay with leaving an entry in your journal that talked about how Travis would get angry if he knew you had gone to Rachel's house?
That would have been in late August or early September that I wrote that. And this argument that occurred would be late October. And the subsequent lecturing of writing negative things occurred after that, maybe later in October, late, or early November.
Why was it okay to write about how Travis made you both sick and happy, or sad and miserable, or that something wasn't right about him?
That was a very mild way of how I sometimes felt about that darker side of him, as far as sick or miserable, as far as just the emotional turmoil and the pedophilia. And so that was also a side of him that, again, he was trying to overcome and eradicate. So at the same time, he had beautiful sides to him. So what I was doing in that is I was listing the contrast of the range of emotions that I felt when I was with him.
After you snatched the gun off the shelf, did you do anything to the gun, such as cock it, slip off the safety,
Ooh,
manipulate a slide, or anything prior to it going off?
I don't even think I would know how to do that. So the answer is, I don't know. Probably not. I just grabbed it and pointed it, is what I remember.
Had you ever had any firearms training or fired a .25 caliber pistol prior to this event?
Never fired a gun, but I was relatively familiar with them.
Well, you
not
have at least
formally
once.
trained, but relatively familiar. Just, I don't know, not formally trained.
How far away from you was Travis when the gun went off? Not when he lunged, but when the gun went off.
The lunging and the gun going off was sort of contemporaneous. I don't remember how close they were or if they happened exactly at the same moment or one right after the other. It all happened very fast and it all seemed to happen all at once. And I would say as far as distance, maybe as far as Mr. Babick is, but I couldn't say for sure, for absolute certainty.
You stated that you remember throwing the gun into the desert. But do you remember what happened to the box it was in?
No, I do not.
What about the holster you mentioned?
I only saw the holster before I moved. I didn't see it again after that.
Did he keep extra ammunition with the gun?
I never saw ammunition next to the gun, and I never found any in the house when I was cleaning.
If Travis lunged at you, why didn't you just...
Okay, she has like all those questions printed out on papers, and she just has a stack of them. There's so many freaking jury questions. I'm gonna pop this up to 1.25 since we're done with the bingo.
move to the side out of his way?
Well, it happened very fast. I didn't have time to think. Everything just happened, it seemed, in a split second. So I really it just didn't have time to think, move this way or that way, or back up or do this or that. It just happened the way it happened without really thinking about the best move to make.
You remember dropping the knife and screaming, but you don't remember taking the gun or rope with you. Is that correct?
In a sense, that's correct. I remember that, dropping the knife and screaming, and that memory came much later.
See, I have rope and gun like way later in my list for the jury or for the bingo questions because I forgot they were said earlier. Yeah, rope. We got it. Rope.
I'm sorry. Can I start?
Overruled. May continue.
But it goes blank after that. I don't remember putting the gun in the car. I don't remember putting the rope in the car, but I have not crystal clear, but pretty solid memories of disposing of those things. So they did go in the car, obviously, but I don't remember placing them in the car.
You are stating you believe you stabbed Travis based on logic. How do you explain the blood on your hands and clothes and the bloody palm print on the wall?
The bloody palm print on the wall. The jury is so paying attention.
And I mean, based on logic, it would have been because of how we fought. I don't know how things ended up where they ended up. I just know that we were fighting physically.
If you were kneeling when you dropped the camera, how did it roll as far as it did?
Camera.
It didn't really roll very far. It just kind of gave a bounce or two and maybe rolled like right here. It didn't roll very far.
Was Travis sitting down when you dropped the camera?
Yes, he was. I think so.
How did Travis's anger escalate after you shot him?
I don't remember the words he was saying, but he was angrier. He was screaming more. He was cursing more. And we had fallen over right after that shot occurred, and he was grabbing at my clothes and grabbing at me. And again, as soon as I broke away, he threatened my life. So that was definitely an escalation in his anger. That's how I interpreted it.
Was he chasing you after you shot him in the head?
Shot in the head.
Right after the shot occurred, we had fallen over in the bathroom, again toward the sink, the sink and garbage can area, kind of in the corner. So he didn't chase me in that moment, but that's where we struggled on the floor. And again, as soon as I broke away and he said, "Effing kill you, bitch." I don't remember a lot after that. So whether he chased me or not, I couldn't say.
When you purchased gas at the Arco in Pasadena, why didn't you just...
I know. I think the jury was writing that. We're like, so after you shot him in the head, he was chasing you? I think that's how they wrote it in their mind, but the judge just reads them.
fill everything up at the pump so that it was all under one transaction? Why do 3 separate transactions?
Well, what I do recall is when I filled the gas cans, rather than have just a loose gas hose somewhere, I didn't have anywhere to put it.
Only insane, overly angry people with anger issues, respond that way when they get shot in the head, right, Baker? He needs to learn some self-control.
So I hung it up, and when I hung it up, that ends the transaction. So that's probably why, if I could have, put them back in the trunk or wherever, and then started the car or vice versa. At one point I didn't want to just set it on the ground. So I hung it up. I know that ended the transaction. So that's probably why there was more than one. And maybe I was topping off the gas tank for another.
During your testimony about the abuse by Travis, you have made several comments like, "As I understand it now," or "I've come to realize when discussing events that you may not have classified as abuse then, but see it as such now." Have you utilized professional help?
I have not had access to professional help. No, I haven't utilized that.
Did you enjoy having sex with Travis?
For the most part, yes, I did, very much.
Did he force you to do things you didn't want to do?
There were things I was uncomfortable with. I didn't feel altogether forced. I went along with it. So he didn't physically force me or anything like that.
Why did you wait for so long to tell the truth?
Good question.
Again, it took a long time. It took a long time for me to get to this point. I never wanted to admit to this. And I'd written out all my suicide letters. I sent my note, I sent them all in an envelope to my grandmother's, do not open until November 10th, 2008. I was hoping to be dead by then. I was like giving myself a little time to get my affairs in order. That date rolled by.
Her mom is sitting there thinking, yep, Jodi's going to jail.
So with the evolution of just time and the years, couple of years that went by, it was a gradual process, and I began to feel not right about keeping it in instead.
How many times did you try to kill yourself?
I believe that was in California when I took apart my razor, and was going to do that. That was the only serious attempt I made. Other than that, it's just like ideation, thinking how I might be able to do this or that, things like that.
Would you decide to tell the truth if you never got arrested?
Good question, jury. No is the answer.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Wrong.
You said that one of your worst fears was for everyone to find out what was going on in your relationship. So why did you talk to 48 Hours and other TV stations?
My attempt to talk to them was to present a better image of our relationship and downplay the negative aspects as not really a big deal. It wasn't that bad, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I knew that he did that, but that wasn't a big deal. Even our arguments, oh sure, there was turmoil, it was rocky, but we were friends. So my attempt was more to present a good image of Travis and a good image of myself, and that our relationship had its ups and downs, but we were still on good terms.
You stated in the interview with Detective Flores that Travis liked to shave the old-fashioned way. This would normally include use of a traditional straight razor. Did Travis own or use a straight razor?
I don't think he did. When I said traditional way, I'm not overly familiar with the process of how men shave their faces. I just know that he really got into it. So I think he used something that would be like a pick, actually.
Okay, I will say this. I watched day 28. Like I said, it repeated itself for some reason. It jumped back to earlier testimony from that day. There was like 5 minutes of actual jury questions. None of them are really intriguing. So I decided not to play it and just skip it over. There really wasn't anything special of a question, but there was one that was, oh God, what was the word that she used all the time? Oh, hottie biscotti. The jury question was, have you ever called someone else that you were not dating hottie biscotti? It's such a cringy word. The answer to her was, of course, I don't know, probably, or something like that. That was really the only question relevance before it jumped back to a bunch of earlier testimony for some reason. But I hate that freaking word now. Well, I've never known it to exist. But after Jodi, I cringe when I hear that word. Hottie biscotti. Yes, hottie biscotti. That was going to be one of the words.
Like a what?
A big razor.
In testimony on March 5, 2013, you mentioned filling a third gas can. When and where did you get this can?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
In testimony on March 5, 2013, you mentioned filling a third gas can. When and where did you get this can?
March 5. I believe that was a hypothetical. I had a third can when I originally purchased one in Salinas. I returned it before leaving Salinas. So what we were doing is throwing out a hypothetical as to why would I only put 2 gallons in a third tank or third can. So that was a hypothetical. I only had 2 gas cans with me.
Why didn't you just run out of the house instead of grabbing the gun from the closet?
Well, again, it happened so fast. I did initially think run, so that's why I went down the hallway. And then right as I got to the hallway with the doors being shut, it just seemed like more of an obstacle. It would give him more time to catch up, to open the door this way and run around it and out when this door was in equal distance and open, and I could just run that way and into it. So my thought maybe initially was to run out the other door and then around and out, but just something to create more distance, because last time I'd run that same route, I was not successful in running out of the room.
You said when the gun went off, you weren't sure if you shot Travis. So when you came out of the fog on your way to Utah, why didn't you call 911 to help Travis?
When I sort of came out of the fog, I realized, oh crap, something bad had happened, and I was scared to call any authority at that point.
All right, counsel, please approach.
Okay, so they're
There's
going to
some
go
additional
over.
questions from the jury.
So the jury's been writing down more questions as she's been answering questions, which is amazing to me. I got to go up to 47 something. So they're going over the questions, the new questions. This is like a dialogue now with Jodi, right? The jury asks questions, and then while she's answering them, they're writing down more questions, which is the first time that I've heard of this or seen this, which was amazing to me. Hey, Carlos with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. Mamasaurus Rex got it. MJ, Freak, Middigging Dong, MDing Dong. Okay, Freak, cool. You got a gifted membership. Kae, and Tunia. God, I don't know. Tunia. Anyways, you all got gifted memberships. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Carlos, if you are a new member, make sure to click my tab. Click my member tab and go check out my link to my Discord, where we have all of our member content. When you get in there, you'll be placed in a waiting room of sorts. Let Jung or Jamie or myself know what your YouTube name is so we can verify your membership. And then you can have fun to all of Jodi Arias. And I mean all of Jodi Arias. You will know more about Jodi Arias than you have ever wanted to in my Discord, as well as some of the other cases that I cover as well. They're not supposed to. The jury's not supposed to discuss the case with themselves or anyone else. So the jury's just writing down questions. Now, in theory, a juror could hear one of the questions written by another juror and then have a follow-up question and write that down. So through Jodi answering the questions, they could be dialoguing, but not directly. They're not supposed to be. Let's see. All the beef curtains one can handle. Yes. Yes. And the bonus holes and the fake boobies and everything.
Can.
And since Nick's not here, I'm not worried about talking like that on his channel. Although that's not that bad.
I was just answering the question I was asked. So I don't know why there was a hypothesis.
Sorry. Okay. I went forward too far. Okay, so these are jury questions based off of the jury questions.
Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Why would you hypothesize about filling a third gas can?
I was just answering the question I was asked. So I don't know why there was a hypothesis there.
I don't know. You know, I've at least Arizona and was it Colorado? There was another state that was asking them, and Michigan does, of course. So there's at least 2, maybe 3.
You stated today that you did not have professional help when dealing with your issues. Yet yesterday you mentioned talking to a psychiatrist to deal with Travis's possible child porn issues. Can you explain?
Can you read that last part again, or you can read the whole thing if you want?
You stated today that you did not have professional help when dealing with your issues.
Let's just. Jodi says, can you restate the question or part of it if you want? So please, Jodi, give the judge direction. She needs it more than you do.
Issues. Yet yesterday you mentioned talking to a psychiatrist to deal with Travis's possible child porn issues. Can you explain?
Yes. It was actually, I believe, a psychologist, and it wasn't to deal with the issues. That wasn't for professional help. That was for an evaluation of me, not counseling of any kind.
You say you waited 2 years to tell the truth because you were ashamed. Does that mean you are no longer ashamed?
No, that doesn't. I'm still very deeply ashamed. It simply means that it became more difficult to deal with holding it in because, like I said, the feeling of being fraudulent was so great I couldn't hold it in any longer.
Did you look into the possibility of renting a GPS system along with a rental car?
I believe it was
Shane,
offered.
GPS.
They're typically offered when I rented cars in the past, but it costs more, and I was trying to save money, so no, I didn't.
In the story of a man and woman attacking Travis, you mentioned talking
I love it how they call it a story, the ninja story.
to him. Also mentioned was Travis being on all fours. Do you in fact recall him doing any of those things?
I do recall him screaming and yelling at me. So I don't know if that constitutes as talking, but he was saying words. The other things, I don't recall as far as being on all fours. I don't.
You
You know she does. You know she does. She brought that out. Like all successful lies, well, somewhat believable lies, are filled with half-truths. You know he was crawling around on the ground.
claim that everything happened so fast and you didn't have time to think. So how could you think of grabbing the gun from the closet?
What I should have said is I didn't really have time to reflect on what I should do or what I shouldn't do, or what would the consequence be if I did this, X, Y, or Z. So everything happened really fast and I didn't give it any forethought. I just reacted and did that very quickly.
How can you say that you don't have memory issues when you can't remember how you stabbed him so many times and slashed his throat?
Listen, this is based off the jury asked a question, she answered, and the jury has more questions. They're like, so the question was, do you have memory issues? And she's like, no, I don't think I have memory issues. And so now the jury's like, so if you can't remember how you slashed somebody's throat, how is it that you don't have memory issues? Or are you lying?
Well, I think that I have a good memory, and June 4th is an anomaly for me. It's like I said yesterday, it's in a class of its own, and I can't explain what kind of state of mind I was in. It was, the most of the day was an
It's up to
entire
the
blank,
judge,
and little pieces
or-
have come back, but not.
It's up to the court. Each state is different. So Michigan just started allowing it like 4 or 5 years ago. We haven't had jury questions for very long, and I love them.
Very many. So I can't
Maybe spend a
explain
little
that
longer
day
in
alone,
Michigan.
but if you were to put that day over here, all the other days of my life, I don't think I have memory issues that are any different from another average person.
Did Mr. Martinez cause you to shake during his questioning?
Yes.
If so, can you please provide an estimate of how many times this happened during the current trial?
During the current trial, it happened on the day of opening statements. I remember that. It happened almost every day. It was most intense on the first day of cross.
After all the lies you have told, why should we believe you now?
Lying isn't typically something I just do. I'm not going to say that I've never told a lie in my life before this incident, but the lies that I've told in this case can be tied directly back to either protecting Travis's reputation or my involvement in his death in any way, because I was very ashamed of the death, and also I wanted to
She's so
edify
ashamed.
Travis in a good way. I didn't want to de-edify him or say hateful things about him, especially now that he had passed away. And I also didn't want that to be construed as motive, for example, if he was violent with me.
What happened to the suicide letters you wrote to your grandmother?
I mailed them to my grandmother and I asked her to hold them.
How could you kiss another man when you knew what you just did to Travis?
How is it that you're able to go over to another man's house after you just did the naughty with Travis, unalived him, and then go make out with another dude? That is, yes, kiss. Kiss was on our list, but the jury is not buying any of her BS.
Again, my state of mind wasn't right at that time. This was just hours afterward. And one of the reasons I went to Utah is because it was expected of me.
Ladies, I don't know much about you. The one thing that I do know is that after a traumatic event, you aren't necessarily in the mood for some you know, heavy petting, shall we say. That's the one thing I do know about you. Unless it wasn't really that traumatic, or you kind of got off on it, or you're happy about it.
Me. And I thought by not showing up, it would look even more suspicious. And when I got there, Ryan and I had talked extensively about things we might do when we get there, including being romantic. Not sexual, but romantic things. We would maybe dinner, hikes, things like that. Part of me felt that that was expected of me. If I went there and just showed up as a total ice queen and didn't want to touch him or have anything to do with him, he might think that's strange. And so
Listen to the way she talks. Hottie biscotti, total ice queen. She is a 12-year-old trapped in an adult's body. She's never been able to make it through adolescence. And this is why she did what she did. And gentlemen, if you hear anybody, an adult woman, acting and talking like a 12-year-old, run for the hills. Salvador, you included.
part of that was an attempt to appear normal. Also, when I was with Ryan, I felt a sense of safety. He wasn't pressuring me for sex, and I didn't think he was going to haul off and smack me if I said the wrong thing or did something that displeased him. But again, even with all of those things, I wasn't in my right state of mind during that time.
Were you in the fog when you were kissing Ryan?
Yes,
Would you agree that you came away from the June 4 incident rather unscathed, while Travis suffered a gunshot and multiple stab wounds? You only had a bump on your head, a bruise on your head, cuts or scrapes on your ankles, and a possible shoulder injury.
as far as making comparison of physical injuries, him versus mine, yes, I would have to say that's a relatively accurate assessment.
Ladies and gentlemen, are there any other questions from the jury at this time? Mr. Nermi, you may follow up.
All right. So that's the end of today's stream. That's the end of the jury questions. We got through all the jury questions. Those were amazing questions. They're not buying her BS. They're calling her out on every little inconsistency. I'm going to leave Dave as a Hottie Biscotti up for the rest of the stream. But those are good. So on Saturday, we're going to start with redirect from her attorney, and we'll see how far that goes. What kind of mess her attorney can get her further into, because he doesn't seem to be very good at getting her out of anything. Blackout. Wait, I don't have a blackout. I'm missing shower. Shower was mentioned a while ago. Shower was mentioned fairly close to the whole shot in the head thing. So yes, and then there's ideation. Tell the truth. What did we go out on? We went out on law of attraction. Law of attraction was the one that sort of won everything. But it was said I just wasn't keeping track. They were all set because I listened to it this morning and I wrote them down. I spent an hour listening in advance for you guys. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winners for today when it was only supposed to be 3. So we're good. Totally not in a rush about it. It's fine. Yeah, because you won. Get it. So all of our winners, we'll post our winners in Discord. Thank you all. We have 13 total winners for Jodi Arias jury question bingo. And again, we do these at closing arguments. So in about 30 weeks from now, when we have closing arguments, I went ahead and looked and I counted the times. And I looked at roughly how many streams we would need. And we have a total of 60 streams approximately left. So that's 30 more weeks of Jodi. Yes, and you got 2 days worth today. Well, I mean, it was 5 minutes from day 28. But so sad I missed bingo today. You know, it's noon Eastern, 6 p.m. Swedish time every Tuesday and Saturday. You guys know the times. You got to be here for that. Also, if you are a member of my channel, go into Discord because we give live alerts which are more reliable than YouTube. So go check that out. Plus, if you're a new member, I know I was gifted some memberships. Don't forget to check out the link to the Discord where you can get your entire Jodi fill. Unintended there. And as for the competition between Nick and myself, despite the fact that Nick was not on screen, he got 39 likes, but I got 41. So there. And I won with the gifted memberships, and neither of us got any super chats. So I win all today, Nick. I win all. Serves you right for sitting at home, twiddling your thumbs in the bathtub while I'm out here working and grinding away on Jodi. Thank you all for joining us. Tuesday, well, actually, tomorrow night, I'm going to do my weekly 7 p.m. news stream. I know Nick is probably going to have a stream up later today. Where should I redirect you guys? Nick is going to have a stream up later today for, I believe he is. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I thought he was going to have a stream up later today for Young Thug, but he might not. So in the meantime, I'm going to send you guys over to Uncivil. Tell them I said hi. And you guys all have a wonderful day.
The State of Arizona versus Jodi Arias, verdict, count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder.